Jimmy Butler is in rumors to be traded, and every team wants him, and is rightfully so. But here's the issue. Jimmy Butler is not going to be traded this year. Jimmy Butler will not be traded by the deadline. I promise you that. If the Heat trade Jimmy Butler by the deadline, they are crazy. And the reason why is because if you look back to any season in the past where Jimmy Butler played for the Heat, they are on schedule to be the same thing every year. And we all know Jimmy Butler, for some reason, is not an amazing player in the regular season. Obviously, in the regular season, he shows up. He's a decent player. Like this year, he's averaging 18.5 points, about 5.8 rebounds, I think it was, and 4.5 assists. And he plays defense. It's just that he's been out for the last 10, 15 games or so. He played 20 games this season. So, obviously, the team is struggling without him. Obviously, the team is exactly where it needs to be and where it's always been when Jimmy Butler plays. So, the idea that everybody thinks that he are just going to give up Jimmy Butler by the trade deadline is crazy. And I know he's the most famous name in trade rumors, but it's not going to happen. That's my take. And y'all are going to see it's not going to happen. Jimmy Butler will not be traded by a trade deadline. The Heat are not that stupid. This is all they have. Look at yesterday's game. When Jimmy Butler didn't play, the Heat struggled against the Magic. Now, I understand the Magic are a great team this year. I understand that they're playing together. I understand that the Magic are a young team with energy and great scoring in Cole Anthony, and they have amazing defense, and they come together, and I understand all that. I've watched their games, I know. But the Heat have a team that's been together for a couple of years. They have a team that has went to the NBA Finals. They have a team that has competed in the playoffs against amazing talents like the Celtics, the Bucks, in different forms. And when Jimmy Butler went down, they are struggling against every single team. It doesn't matter who it is. And you would think they won't struggle because they have Tyler Hero, they have Bam Adebayo, they have a couple of other guys on the team that's been there and they have some type of chemistry together. They have continuity, they have camaraderie, the team is together, they know everything, the same coach, same front office. It's not that much of a difference. You would think throughout development over the years, this won't matter. Jimmy Butler is out. But considering the fact that they are struggling against every team, they're done without Jimmy Butler. And that's why the Heat are just not stupid enough to trade him in the middle of the season. And if you for 1 second think that the Heat are not thinking to themselves, we can still compete in the playoffs, you're insane. You're crazy. I see players in the trade block, they keep talking about Bradley Beal for Jimmy Butler. The Warriors should trade for Jimmy Butler. Everybody should trade for Jimmy Butler. I understand. Who wouldn't want Jimmy Butler on their team? Every team can use Jimmy Butler right now. He's amazing in the regular season, and he's even better in the playoffs. There's not many mistakes Jimmy Butler makes in the playoffs. In the playoffs, Jimmy Butler looks like he's like top 3, top 5 players in the league. In the regular season, whenever he wants to turn it up, he does. But for the most part, he just cruises through the regular season and waits for the playoffs. He's a playoff type of player. And all the teams competing for a championship or want to compete for a championship or are built for a championship but are not there yet, of course they're going to want to trade for Jimmy Butler. There have been a lot of names thrown around and shit, but it's not going to happen. If Jimmy Butler gets traded, it's going to be in the offseason. And even then, I think it's a very slight chance that the Heat will trade Jimmy Butler. I don't believe it. It doesn't cross my mind that the Heat will do something like this. When Jimmy Butler signed with the Heat, he signed with the Heat because of the Heat culture. And the Heat culture has not changed. You still have the same coach, the same front office. So there's not much that changed for him to not want to be there. There's not much that changed for the Heat to not want him there. they just need a better team, fix the bench a little bit, and the Heat are right there. Trading Jimmy Butler is not going to happen. I promise you it's not going to happen. And if I'm wrong, I will come back and I will admit that I was wrong. Now, the second craziest thing I've seen, Sacramento Kings fired Mike Brown. I hate firing your coach in the middle of the season. I hate firing your coach at any given point of the season. Unless you're at the 70 game mark and you're doing really, really bad and there's just no comeback. Then, okay, I understand it. But I hate the idea of firing your coach in the middle of the season, especially when you're not a team that's doing completely terrible. I don't know the reasons why they fired Mike Brown. I don't know what is going on. I know there's some rumors going on of, oh, Mike Brown blamed De'Aaron Fox for the last loss. So Mike Brown said this to De'Aaron Fox at practice. This, that, and the third. I don't think they're going to fire him for blaming somebody for a loss. And if that's the case, throw the whole organization away. Because the Kings are never going to go anywhere. And with that mentality, it's just never going to happen. If you're firing your coach because he held somebody accountable or he held a star player accountable, you're never going to go anywhere. You won't be a top team in the West. And forget even just the West. You won't be a top team in the NBA, period. That is very dumb. And I don't think that's the reason. I don't know what is the reason, but I don't think that's the reason. Also, I don't know why you would fire a coach when you just got a new huge piece of your team in DeMar DeRozan. And with that type of adjustment, you about to get a new coach, and now the whole team has to adjust to a new coach. Unless you're going to get one of the assistant coaches step up into a head coach, which is fine. But how much would that work out for you too? We've seen the Bucks try this, and it didn't work. I think the Suns has tried this strategy at a certain point. It didn't work. These type of strategies, these type of things don't always work. And it's because you are taking a risk in the middle of the season, expecting things to be better, when as a front office, you should know. And I don't know how much these guys know. I've heard that they just go based off stats and numbers and analytics. But you should know that if you're trying to have success in a team, you need continuity. The players need to have some type of familiarity to the coach and to the other players with them, to the whole entire team, beginning to end. So firing your coach in the middle of the season, actually not even the middle, we're like 35 games in, so about the middle of the season, and you're firing your coach, it's gonna be so hard for the Kings to adapt to a new coach. And if the new coach even gives them a slight change in their offense and defense, it's going to take a while for them to come together and string a couple of wins together. It's not impossible, but it becomes a lot more complicated. It becomes a lot more difficult because the West is packed. And I know we say that every year. And to be honest, this year I feel like both conferences are packed, but the West is packed. And for the Kings to have a chance, they need something that's going to work, okay? And they need something they need to believe in from before the season starts all the way to the end. Sometimes a team will struggle, okay? And you go to the second half of the season and they just, something clicks and they just turn up. And the whole season is turned around. But when you're coming here and you're giving them a whole different offensive scheme, defensive scheme, especially with a team like the Kings, who I stated before has a new piece in DeMar DeRozan, and they have injuries with De'Aaron Fox, he's injury prone. It takes a while for things like that to come together. And you don't know when these things are going to occur. You don't know when De'Aaron Fox is going to get injured. Hopefully he doesn't for the rest of the season. But you don't know when these things are going to happen. And for a piece like De'Aaron Fox, who's your primary ball handler, who is your point guard, and one of the fastest point guards in the NBA, if he goes down, that delays the whole process by a lot. And then if you add the fact that if the next coach tries to slow things down, tries to slow down the pace, the tempo, he tries to give them a offensive scheme that doesn't fit the team, he tries to give them some type of defensive scheme and plays that don't fit the team, like the personnel that he has to work with, it could be cooked. And that's why I'm against firing coaches in the middle of the season. Unless you're going to put one of the assistant coaches as the head coach. And you're not going to go out there looking for coaches in the market. And if that's the case, that can still work. That has a way higher chance of working. That can be amazing, or that can be the same, or that can be bad. But that is a lower risk than going out there and finding coaches in the market. And I hope that's not what they're doing. I hope they're not going out there trying to find coaches in the market, because I doubt you're even going to find one that's going to fit the Kings right now. Not in the middle of the season. And if you do, it's going to take a while for everything to come together. Because I know I've been speaking about the team adjusting to the coach, so on and so forth. But the coach has to adjust to the players too. The coach can't just go there and just, hey guys, let's do this. No, that's not how that works. The coach needs the players to believe in him. They need the players to believe in them, believe in their plays, believe in their thought process, believe in their vision. They need everything to come together. And that can take time too. But anyways, yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much. Hope you made it all the way through. Thank you for coming through the locker room. And this will talk with E. Safety.